Welcome to this week's Swarf and Chip Show. Guess what? It's National Donut Day. Yes, look what we've got in the studio, everybody. Dum, 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 dum. Guess how many donuts are in the studio? Put your guesses in the comments box below.
How many will be left at the end of the show?
Yeah, not many.
I was going to go on a diet, but I do not care.
You don't care.
Oh, you don't. Oh, no. Dreadful.
Move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Right, okay, Paul's been out and about and he's been observing the social distancing rules. In fact, we have a RAMS, a risk assessment method statement for everybody's safety. But I think in this whole situation, we're all going to be managing to work differently and at times better. I mean, we can do things virtually, although obviously I much prefer having Paul and Colin in the studio, but things like factory acceptance tests, they can be done virtually, saving a huge amount of time, travelling and money. And as well, we've been discussing already today that there's a great opportunity for onshoring and reshoring, and we've already seen this occurring thus far. So anyway, in today's show, right, we've got some really, really good stories, some big machines but with small footprints, a challenging cycle time challenge and a hack to keep your workplace more organised.
Right, first of all in the show though, we did a big push this week on the socials about donuts. So here's some of the things they've been sending in for us.
Oh my gosh, I want to eat them and I know they're made of metal.
Jaws would eat those, wouldn't he?
Oh.
Donut.
Some cracking components.
Jaws.
That's from our friend Albert Adocrona actually, and that's a nice fusion part, but anyway.
Nice.
So it's not,
Well, happy
Jaws
Donut
from
Day.
James Bond.
but I'm going to
James Bond?
From
James Bond, yeah.
Jaws,
We're a big metal cake. But I'm going to interject there, guys, because I've actually done some separate research on donuts, and we've got loads of pictures. Oh my God.
Go on.
I've done some separate research, donuts making bits and bobs and things like that. So if we can click, can we get to that video? So that's a donut mould. That's a donut mould hexagon one. This is a dome thing for moulding donuts. This is for putting fillings in. This is for mixing donuts, did you know? Mixing donuts. Seriously, I've done all this research. Big mixers, absolutely. This is for stirring the donut mix. This is for squeezing the donuts through.
Something funny
This is
coming here.
for five donuts. This is for a big donut. This is for 6 donuts at a time. This is for 10 donuts at a time plus a reserve. This is for all sorts of intricate donuts. This is for stamping the donuts when they're finished. Putting the jam in. I'm jamming. This is for more jam in. Absolutely brilliant. This is a tiny little part for putting small bits of jam in. I'll tell you what, I didn't know all our engineers had so much donut-tastic. More jam in. These are little bits to put on the top of sprinkles. This is for testing them, ultraviolet testing with donuts, did you know? And that's an old delivery vehicle for donuts. Honestly, God's honest truth, that's all donut related. Well, the only 2 donut related things are you two. Anyway, I'm sorry to interject. CTPE, over to you, Lindsay.
Can we cut that bit out as well and use it as a separate? That was
Oh,
brilliant.
that was brilliant. Right, let's start with the show. We caught up with Alex at CTPE with their new Biglia machine. Oh, Colin.
So Alex, tell us about this machine.
Yeah, so we purchased this Biglia B620YS and it was delivered in the middle of April. And the reason why we just chose to get this machine is because we needed to increase the volume of our production and how we were doing previously to maintain our customers' delivery requirements.
Talk us through the specification of the machine and why you actually selected the style that you've got here with the twin spindles and so forth.
Okay, it's a twin spindle machine with a single turret, very powerful, very rigid machine. We've got a 40 kilowatt main spindle, 25 kilowatt sub spindle, 13 kilowatt on the driven tool, and it's a very capable machine. At the moment we're using it to machine aluminium components, but obviously it gives us great flexibility with the power it's got to tackle any kind of materials, whether it be stainless steel, exotics that come through the door at a later date. Yeah.
So you were previously doing this on a single spindle machine. What's the savings you've made as a result of investing in this?
We've saved a lot of money obviously investing in this machine by getting the parts off complete in one hit, whereas previously we would have to do 2 operations. And not only that, obviously the cycle time is reduced approximately 25% as well on top, so the saving is massive.
Fantastic. Well, I just like to hear parts coming off complete. You're saving time, you're saving money, aren't you?
Absolutely. And was it 3 ops down to 1 op? Anyway, I've got some questions on this. I want to clarify though, first of all, I've got to wear the hat today because no haircut since COVID.
But you've shown everyone.
I know. So you didn't mention in that video what bar size will it take?
Yeah, so it's a 70mm bar machine.
Oh, right,
on,
okay,
on the main spindle.
big
40 kilowatt.
What? And 40 kilowatt and 25 on the back. I
Yes,
think.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. What about billets in the chuck?
Well, I think it's a 10-inch chuck or a 12-inch chuck you could have on that machine. So up to that sort of size, depending on, of course, what jaws you use. But it is built for. They've got the sliding head machines in the shop from Tornos.
Yep.
And then, of course, they've got this, which is their fixed head version for those bigger billet works as well. So it gives them more flexibility.
Yeah. And I did notice a turret, obviously. 15 tools. Is there other options?
Well, there's 15 stations on this particular turret,
Yep.
but you can opt for, with Biglia, you can go for a 24 or 12 station turret with 24-point indexing. So it depends on how many tools you want to get on the turret, what the components you're doing are. It's good to be able to have that option. You'd think, why wouldn't you go for 24 tools instead of 15? But actually, if you go for 24-point indexing, there is the possibility of collisions and everything's in a bit of a tighter working area. So 15, that's a little bit reduced. But I'd just like to talk about, beyond the Biglia, this company has just invested in brother machines as well. Right. They've got 3 brother machines. There's a great video on the MTD CNC website about the productivity gains they've had from those, up to 70% saving on cycle times as a result of their brother Speedio machines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
and then they've gone on.
Is that the one that does turning as well?
These ones are just the VMCs. They've got one with a 5-axis table as well. But the final point I'd make on this is they've also ordered an Akari horizontal machining centre to replace their Haas VF3. And they've done that. Nothing wrong with a Haas machine, but it's purely the fact that they wanted more production, lights out, and with the Akari HMC from Whitehouse, what you can do is add tools or retrofit additional tools to it at a later stage, another tool magazine. So if you want to go from 60 tools to 120 tools to 180, you can do that, and the same with the pallets if you wanted extra pallets on the machine. So as your work changes, you can adapt and improve and increase the machine. We're going to go back and see that machine.
Right, I'm going to cut in there as well. One thing I noticed when you were filming with Alex. How's this?
Oh, he looks so sad. You're so far away from him, Paul. No.
Just observing the rules.
That is proper social distance. He looked well glued. He's tucked away in the corner there. So
I think he was petrified.
Petrified. Okay, moving on. Anyway, sorry.
Right. Next, we're going to ENS Precision, and we're seeing a machine from Dugard with an unusual layout.
I'm standing in front of this Dugard HD vertical machining centre, recently installed here at ENS Precision. Now, what's good about this machine and what do they like? Well, it's a BT50 machine, so it's a heavy duty machine. If you're cutting harder materials like they're doing here and you want to minimise vibration in the machining cycle, then this type of machine is ideal for that. And I want to walk you around and show you in the machine for some of the reasons why that is. Now, if you look at the inside, so you can see we're doing a fairly light job as it stands, but look at the way the axes are stacked here. Look, the X-axis is moving underneath the Y-axis. This is seen by Dugard as being a more rigid solution when you've got heavier parts, heavier billets, heavier components on the table, moving them left to right. The benefit of having the X-axis at the bottom means that the gravity or the moving axis is lower or closer to the ground, so it's more rigid. Also, take a quick look here. The swarf conveyor comes out the back of this machine. One of the key elements to this HD range is the fact that they get a big working envelope in a small footprint, and this helps as well by the fact that it doesn't come out the side, it comes out the back. These machines can be seen on Dugard's website, but more importantly, if you want to see them in action, you can go to one of their customers like here at ENS Precision, or go to their showroom in Hove. But I want to take this back up in the studio and talk about some of the benefits of heavier machines and BT50 machining centres.
Are Dugard renowned for creating machines for heavy duty parts?
Yes, I mean, here's a perfect example, but it goes beyond that as well. I mean, they do the smaller machines, the Kitamura machines, BBT30 machines, even their vertical machining centre range. They do like, I think, a 600 table machine. And sliding head lathes from Hanwha, as well as their Schmeck machines. So it's a good spread, really. This is just one of their vertical machining centre range. They've got their eco range as well as their other value machines, but this obviously is a more of a beast.
Yeah.
Well, now, you said big point here, small footprint, yes, but I didn't understand how having the X below the Y is going to be a benefit.
I mean, there's a few machine tool manufacturers that do it. I mean, you imagine you've got more sort of weight and size on the x-axis, so when you're moving left to right, if that axis is closer to the ground and closer to the casting, then it's going to naturally be more rigid, whereas the y-axis is just moving front to back. So it's what they call it's you know, Mazak talk about the axis stacking on their 5-axis machines. It's how you stack the axes, and this is just a different way of stacking it to give you more rigidity.
And this one's BT50, so big chunks of metal.
BT50, yes. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, we're talking about BT50s and things like that. HSK, I did do a bit of research. What does HSK stand for? As a bit of a tangent.
I'm not sure of the actual terminology. No, I know what it is, but I don't know what it stands for.
Hollow shank
Taper.
Taper.
Yeah. Why would you use a HSK as opposed to BT50?
I mean, well, a BT50 in itself is for much heavier duty machining, and an HSK spindle. I mean, an HSK 100 is a pretty robust spindle, of course, but you know, HSK 63, the smaller HSKs are for higher speed machining.
Right. Okay. Lighter metals.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, you have been busy, Paul, because he has been out and about, and this is this week's Cycle Time Challenge.
So here goes, Cycle Time Challenge this week is a part that's made, which I'm going to show you in a minute, on this VTC travelling column machine from Mazak. Here we've got a Nikon 4th axis unit, which has a second end to it, which supports this fixture in the middle. Now the part you're going to see in a minute actually is held on this fixture here. Now the interesting thing is they used to do this by turning the part over to do the different faces that I'm going to show you. Now when we look at the component, you'll see this is actually for the HGV industry, for a heavy goods vehicle, and here is the finished part. Now there's two parts. They put one on one side of the fixture you've just seen and one on the other, so you've got a top and a bottom component. You can see these holes here, these nicely finished holes, also these slots on the outside, and there's also slots underneath on the underside here. Now before, they were having to do these holes, thread these holes, turn it over, do these slots here, turn it over again to do the recess on the bottom. Now they do two parts using that, one on either side of that fixture. What do you believe is the machining time of two of these coming off the machine? So how many minutes does it take to finish two of these components that you see here for the heavy goods vehicle industry?
I'm really impressed. Now, I'm not going to ask you, Paul, because I'm assuming that you know the answer. Colin, guess.
I'll put me under pressure. I've got some questions though first. So, just to clarify, HDV component on a Mazak travelling column, Nikon rotary table, I know that. 3 ops down to 2?
Yeah.
What material?
Did I not state it in that?
You did not, hence
did
my
I not
question.
state it? I mean, it's going to be a harder steel, but I'm not sure.
Okay, right, okay. Well, on that basis, that's changed my CTC completely. It was going to be, so I'm going to go, is this, and this for both because it's two pieces?
Yeah, so, well, there's two pieces. You can see one on
They
the...
come in
same
time.
Yeah,
so
but they come one on the back and one on the front.
Yeah, I did watch a video.
So
cycle time for both pieces?
Correct, but
okay.
Full machining time.
Wow, it's changed all the time, isn't it? I'm going to go...
No, it's one fixed time.
32 minutes.
30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's very quick. I'm impressed.
Thank you very much. Want me to make that decision?
Well, yes, exactly. Right, this is your chance to get your guesses in the comments box below. It's a Cycle Time Challenge, and you can win our Swarf and Chips goodie bag.
With a donut?
No, not the donut, because it might go off, and no, not at the moment. But put your guesses in the comments box below on whatever social media channel you're watching, and we'll be announcing the winner next week. Right, thank you, gents. Thank you for that one, Paul. And last but by no means least, a tool vending solution from Sarah Tizit.
Josh, could you just tell us a little bit about the advantages to using a Toolvend here, the one you've got from WNT?
Yeah, the main advantage is that you're not searching through drawers to find your tips. They're all here, and you got your book on the side, which you can find them exactly the right place. They drop out, and you've got them there.
And what happens when you run low on a tool? Does it automatically reorder?
No, it doesn't automatically reorder. They come in weekly and restock it and replenish it as of what we've used.
And you say there's the book on the side. What does that advise you? What feeds and speeds to use for certain materials and things like that?
Yeah, it tells us absolutely everything from the dimensions of the tip to the speeds and feeds for different materials and what tips are better for different materials and so on.
What would you say about WNT as a provider of cutting tools?
Absolutely brilliant. Can't fault them. They're always here to replenish stock. They can advise. The reps are in.
Have you made improvements on your machining processes thanks to their carbides and their inserts?
Massively. From speeds and feeds being up, so production time down, and tool wear itself lasts longer altogether, so it's a win-win.
So before we talk about the technical vending machine, I've got a question for both of you. If you had a vending machine at home, what would you fill it with, Paul? I think I know.
It'd be Stella, Heineken,
Yeah.
Geo's wine, MTD merch.
Really?
All those things, yeah.
Yeah.
We just had a comment in from someone called Joe. He says cakes, pastries and Coke. I don't know who that's from.
Diet Coke.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And yours, Colin?
I'd be a selection of fine wines, basically booze related and chocolate base related. Just yeah.
I like that. Mine would be probably biscuits and chocolate. That's my advice. Yeah, definitely. Well, write in the comments box below what would be yours. But on this topic, we're going all into the serious side now, but they are helping companies save money, being more efficient, helping with, if there was something wrong with a tool, not blaming, but finding out who is using the tool and whether they're using it right or wrong.
That's it. I think it comes down to training of engineers. So someone keeps going back to the same tool. Oh, it's breaking. That can identify they haven't been trained properly, so it can be upskilled. Theft, I know it does. I hate to say it does occur, and those, some of those tools can be very, very expensive.
Have you been stealing some of Paul's wine from his vending
I'm not
machine?
prepared to comment, but also Sarah Tizit, WNT, next day delivery. I mean, they've got Toolvend there, but if there is an issue, next day delivery, and they've got 100,000 tools available.
I only go back to my experience on the shop floor when I was working and I needed inserts. You just went to the stores and asked for what you want. You could have gone back for the same thing 3 or 4 times a day.
Long way.
Inefficiencies. They creep into the manufacturing process. They cost the business money. This makes people accountable, whether they kind of like it or not. It's important for the business if it wants to maintain profitability and be competitive. And I'm not joking. In the days when I was in the machine shop, there used to be guys that used to take toilet rolls home. So you talk about theft. Seriously, I used to know guys that would go into toilets and take toilet rolls home.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised that there's not people who've done that recently.
Things do happen like that. So it's
No, it's sad, but also with that, you mentioned in terms of better cutting times, better tool wear, and he's getting advice from the reps as well, because they do know their stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. They were very pleased with service there. Right, it is at the end of the show, but at the beginning, you saw people sending in their donut pictures. Still, bring them in, because we'll be putting them out on our social media. If you're eating a donut or whether you're making donut parts, we'd really, really appreciate those photos coming in, and we'll get those out as well.
Can we have a donut now?
You have a donut. Don't forget, we've got the magazine and the podcast.
We have, yeah. So we've got the brand new magazine, which came out, which is our May edition. There's a medical focus on this. It is a 65-page. I think it's 65 pages, or in fact it's 67 pages. Plenty of good quality content in there, case studies.
Will Sterling's done a fantastic.
There's some really superb reads. So if you don't get this, then you can obviously go onto the MTD website, go onto the magazine page, and you can subscribe there. I would also want to mention, I would also want to mention our podcast, which is going really well at the moment. We're producing about 2 podcasts a week. Again, they're all on the MTD CNC website or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can download them. On Thursday nights, we're doing a bit of an MTD, what was lockdown, but now really is what we've been up to. That's 8 o'clock every Thursday night. So it's definitely worth tuning in to find out what we've been up to throughout the week.
Not controversial subjects, emotive subjects, and people, this is what I'd have, what would you have?
Last night we actually did one on ways to improve the efficiency in your machine. So at the moment, most machines could be running at 40 to 50% efficiency if they're lucky. How do you get that up? In the times where you need to get the most out of your machines. That was the podcast we did last night. So as I say, go on to the MTD CNC website.
I was actually listening to the Tame Work Holding one this morning as well. So yes. Right, thank you very much, gents. Go and enjoy all of your donuts that we brought in today. We just want the hot weather so I can use that donut again. But thank you very much for tuning in. Like, comment and subscribe. And as we always see, keep those donuts turning. Sorry, ruined it, that one.